Roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom lovers. Kenny Williams.
Good morning, Vic.
Are you a freedom lover?
I am a freedom-loving patriot. I'm an American Macedonian.
You are. Don't talk about yourself. I don't like people talk about themselves. I'll say that.
Okay.
You're a patriot-loving, freedom-loving, patriot Macedonian.
There you go. That was pretty good.
Thanks. All right, big Wednesday today. Scott Shepard from the National Center for Public Policy Research, and of course the great free enterprise. What's it called?
Free Enterprise Project.
Thank you, Free Enterprise Project. Speaker Tim Jones. I got a little bone to pick with Tim Jones. Okay, I love the guy.
Yeah.
So I find out Tuesday that he was on.
He's holding out.
He was on a private jet. I'm sure the Trump private jet. That's just Trump on it, real big, with President Trump.
Right.
When were we going to find out about that? Why
I don't
is he
know.
holding out
I
on
can't
that?
believe he didn't tell us.
I can't believe he didn't bring us.
Yeah.
He didn't even know.
Broadcast live.
He didn't even know who we were at that time. That was 2016 because he was a delegate. He's going to be a delegate again in 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 2020. And then he's going to be a delegate again this year. Big shot. Mr. Tim Jones, the big shot, joins us at 10:05. Mark Carter from the St. Louis County Council. Ken, Pledge of Allegiance today is a special one, is it not?
You go ahead and introduce it, Vic.
Thanks. The Pledge of Allegiance today will be done by Sue Goodman, a true patriot and friend. And she's been on this show, actually. We had her on the air a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
Because she's so upset about what's happening in this country, like we are.
Yeah.
But she's very emotional, and she starts crying about it. She cried on the air when we had her on
That's right. I think now I remember now.
She's such a sweetheart. So Jessica and I were actually with her because my wife is a good doobie and helped her get into the technology age, helping her with her tablet and her smartwatch.
I love that.
Because the smartwatch now can replace the I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yes.
So, and she's 89 years old.
Okay.
God bless her, right? Right?
Wonderful. Yeah, it's awesome.
Sue, go right ahead.
I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So she loves Sally Bones, the dog.
Oh, okay.
So she said, can you bring Sally with you? Because her dog died not too long ago.
Oh.
So we brought Sally down, and she's sneaking Sally little pieces of pizza crust, like backhanded like this. You know, Sally would come and take it. She's just a great American. She's a great American.
89 years old. What a wonderful milestone.
Yeah,
my God.
Sure is. Sure is. So, Sue Goodman, good morning. Love you. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure, because we still have to do the new cell phone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Ken, I said to my wife last night, I said, there's too many liberal judges in this country.
Yeah.
Way too many.
Do you remember what happened back, in the Obama administration?
Tell me.
From 2008 through both of his terms, that's what he did. One of his main goals was to pack the judgeships in every state in the country.
So did he get rid of some judges and then put liberal judges in place?
I'm not
or were
sure.
They just openings?
I think there were openings, and he just packed them.
Well, that's what you got to do. I mean, we should do the same thing, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
So this Judge Carroll has postponed. I love this. Has postponed the classified documents trial, the Jack Smith trial, indefinitely. So that's not going to interfere with campaigning.
Oh, not at all.
Donald Trump.
Nope.
And the things we have found out. So when they raided Mar-a-Lago, do you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say we were going to have Bill Eigel on this segment, but his person that takes care of things. Here, let me just tell you what he said here. Where is it? Bill is presenting an Israeli resolution as we speak in the Senate. I apologize he hasn't called in. We're going to try and set up another time here.
Yeah, sure. another time today?
Today. Yeah,
Okay.
if we can.
10:25, Troy.
We'll try. Yeah.
Okay. So the Jack Smith classified documents trial has been postponed indefinitely. And when that first happened, Ken, you and I were so dumbfounded that it even happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And the things they were saying, that they weren't guarded. I'm sorry. The Secret Service is with him 24/7. Unguarded? You know what was unguarded? The documents next to Joe's Corvette in his garage.
You know, I hear people revert to that particular instance with him in his garage. I find it more interesting that he had all the pallets of documents at Penn State, at the Penn Biden Center that was funded by the CCP, which means the CCP, really, Vic, if you think about it, had complete access to anything that was put in that building.
And that guy, the ghostwriter, right?
Right.
Joe said, the classified documents are down in the basement if you want to see those.
Right.
I think we were more dumbfounded that only you and I thought of Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage when that happened and played Joe's Garage. Didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. So, back to seriousness. Sorry. So now this trial, the documents trial, when it first happened, we were like, well, this is really weird. Why is this happening? Then we find out later. Okay, so the day it happened, remember the staging photo, right? Had top secret envelopes.
What did we say about that, first of all? We said that it was staged. That was no way that Donald Trump just threw things on the floor. Oh, there's top secret right there. Oh, who cares?
Did the dog pee on this? What's going on here? So the document staging photo, right? Like Ken just said, documents on the floor, boxes with pictures. I don't know what, they top secret classified photographs?
Well, that's another thing. They had all the pictures had these big top secret logos on them, right?
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, there were none of those in any of those containers. Mm-hmm. They had to put that there to show everybody, hey, everybody, look, this is top secret.
Unbelievable. So we learn more and more every day about this, right? What about this Mar-a-Lago raid? Then we find out last week that pallets. Now, when I hear the word pallets, you know what I think of? A warehouse, right?
Yeah,
At like Sam's Club.
Yep.
And there's pallets of Tide detergent to the ceiling, you know? I think big numbers when I hear the word pallet, right? Pallets of cash that Obama sent to Iran, right? Pallets, lots. So pallets of documents were sent to Mar-a-Lago, and those are the documents that they said were classified and top secret, and why he's supposed to be going on trial for them. Then we find out that the top secret classified files were part of those pallets of files.
Right, and they were actually delivered to Mar-a-Lago unknown to Trump at first.
Right.
It wasn't like he said he was. It wasn't like he had one of those guiding lights back in the truck up saying, "Okay, guys, right here, lay it down here."
Right.
He wasn't even there.
Right. So we knew this was ridiculous from the start. We were right. And now the Jack Smith, and you know what? People crack me up, Ken. And anybody has the First Amendment right to put flags and signs in their yards. You know, it's just fine. And I could be wrong. I'm biased, but I only see liberals trying to take away Trump signs from people's yards. I never see people taking Biden signs or, you know what I mean? Signs of Democrats.
Because we don't roll that way. We're not devious. We're not deceitful.
I'm glad you said that just like that. Because if you drive on Baxter Road, right before it meets Clayton, there's a fence that the person's house is behind the fence, and they have 3 flags up there. They have an American flag, and then they have a Go Jack Smith flag, and then a Go Fannie Willis flag. And I'm like, you people are so stupid. Did I stop the car and take the flags down? No.
No, and I bet no one else did either.
No, they're still there. They've been there forever. So the point is that these people, they can't root for their candidates anymore, so they have to root for the people who are going to prosecute the candidates they don't like.
Oh, that's a great point.
Because their candidates are so bad.
If Joe Biden was so good and his policies were so great, I should say the Obama-Biden administration, that's the way I feel, then they would have the Obama-Biden signs up.
All right. Can we play some audio here?
Yeah.
Let's play number 7, and then we'll get to the other ones later.
All right.
Julie Kelly is one of those journalists that I put in an echelon with Miranda from the New York Post, who did the Hunter laptop story. Miranda Devine.
Yeah.
I put her up there in that echelon. She's done some great work. And listen to this. This is a little bit long. It's a minute 24. I want you to hear it all, though, about just what we're talking about the Mar-a-Lago raid.
There's even more breaking news this morning since I posted that piece that you read. Thank you so much on Declassified Live, which is more filings and responses by Donald Trump and the defense team outlining this huge revelation filed Friday night by Jack Smith that admits that they've tampered with evidence, that they have misplaced evidence, it seems like. And of course, as I wrote, they brought these cover sheets to the Mar-a-Lago raid for the sole purpose, they say, as placeholders for the classified files that they found, but for the sole purpose also of creating that stunt photo of the crime scene to make it appear that that is how the documents were found in those boxes. That simply is just one more lie, misrepresentation, not just to the public, but to Judge Cannon as well. Last night, Judge Cannon put a hold on a very important hearing related to what classified material the defense was going to present at trial. She has put a hold on that deadline, and I suspect that she is right now preparing a blistering order about this case to Jack Smith, the recent revelations about mishandling evidence, and continuing to put this case towards trial, despite what we now know, prosecutorial abuse, tampering and doctoring evidence, and withholding it, all of this information from the defense.
Ken,
Yeah.
this is the only, and this is not a very, very good example, but it's an example, okay? Have you seen the movie Titanic?
Yeah.
Okay. You know the diamond, the heart of the ocean, whatever it was called, that big diamond?
Big giant blue thing. Yeah.
So, so Jack and Rose are having their thing, right? And they walk back to tell Rose's fiance that they hit an iceberg and there's trouble, right? And he can only think about money, the guy. Cal was his name. And on the walk back, Lovejoy, who is Cal's kind of bodyguard, slips the diamond into the pocket.
I remember that, yeah.
You know? And they said, search him. And then the guy goes, is this it? Inferring that Jack had stolen the diamond. That's what's happening to Donald Trump.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I know that's not a great example.
No, it's a perfect example. That's it, right there.
But there's got to be a movie or something where somebody goes on trial and you know, because when you watch a movie, you see what really happened. And then you get to the trial in the movie, and then people are saying stuff that you just watched. You know that didn't happen, but the judge is corrupt. He says, "Nope, that's good evidence," and then the person gets convicted, and they're really completely innocent.
That is the perfect example, and I would like everybody to go back all the way to the escalator. And at that moment was when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama got together behind the scenes and said, "We need to stop this man now. Here's what and then Barack Obama said, "Here's what we're going to do." Crossfire Hurricane.
Yep.
Crossfire Hurricane started the coup. The coup has been going on, Vic, every day since that escalator, and we're coming to a head in 2024.
So how widespread was it, right? The escalator you're talking about, he only mentioned that he's running for president. He wasn't even truly a candidate yet. He hadn't filed the papers
No,
yet.
right.
He said, I'm going to run for president. And then they started this thing against him, you know? And then after he was elected, they started to work on impeaching him before he was even sworn in.
This has been going on since that moment. This is the longest coup attempt in history.
Yeah.
It's continuing right now. What we're seeing right now, the reason why these court cases are falling to the wayside is because they don't have anything.
Right.
They don't have enough meat to put him away.
Now, Judge Carroll is not a correspondent. She's not a legal analyst on a network. She's a judge. And she said they misplaced and tampered with evidence.
It's as simple as that. People have gone to jail for that.
You and I can say it doesn't matter because we're just two goofballs on the radio.
Right.
When a judge says it, you better start listening. Your ears better perk up and say, oh, my God, they're rigging this whole game against him.
And let's wake up for. I want to slap some people in the face and say, wake up and look at what happened here. Joe Biden, as vice president and senator, had no access to top secret material to take home. Yeah. He had no business with any of that. Yet he did it for many, many years. He had it everywhere. We just talked about it, where he has it in places. They say he had it in Chinatown for some reason. Okay, so now all that happened, right? What did they do with Joe Biden? Did they put him in jail? Did they go to his house with a bunch of police and CNN standing there? No, of course not. They didn't do any of that stuff. Yep. But look at Trump. Look what they did with him. They delivered the material. They delivered it. Then they came back and said, look what Trump has.
Now, you're being so unfair. What's the matter with you? What is the matter with you? Joe Biden was sent salacious photos from women when he was a senator, and he handed them over to the Secret Service. Oh, wait. He didn't have Secret Service.
He didn't back then.
Maybe you're right. Let's get out of here. God. It's so ridiculous. It's right in front of our eyes. Any conservative's eyes. Half the liberal world is seeing this as a crazy thing. I didn't curse.
I know you want to so bad.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
I know he wants to.
Got yelled at for that yesterday.
That's the way we're gonna slow down on that a little bit.
Pipe down just a little bit. All right. Scott Shepard from the Free Enterprise Project, the National Center for Public Policy Research. I did not take my focus factor this morning. He'll join us at 9:41. Tim Jones, he's got some answering to do. What the hell was he doing on a plane with Donald Trump? And we didn't find out about it until yesterday.
Yeah.
And Mark Carter from the St. Louis County Council, all coming up today on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
There's always have been compelling value sets of visions of America. One of those value sets is revenge and retribution.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, this is a great time to get fantastic deals at Ackerman Toyota, #1 volume dealer in the area. Why? Very simple. They want to make you happy. They'll come up with a deal that puts you in the driver's seat. You'll be smiling as you drive off the lot. You got a trade in? You're going to get top dollar from Ackerman. Looking for a premium used car or truck? Ackerman is the answer. Ackerman Toyota at Hampton and 44. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Springtime in St. Louis means one thing. That's right. Golf is back, baby. Whether you're a beginner or a scratch golfer, you're sure to enjoy your golf experience at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Sugar Creek is a scenic and challenging course and well-suited to golfers of all abilities. Located in High Ridge, just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. At Sugar Creek Golf Course, our courteous and professional staff has one goal: to make sure your golf experience is enjoyable. To book your tee time or to learn more about the special event and banquet facilities, simply visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s new country streaming now. This National Center for Public Policy update brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
You got to have equity in these projects. Now, it's never a giveaway because, as we're talking and fighting now about DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion, some think that's a giveaway. Some think that's just, a charity. No, it's not. It's good business. And so we wanted to make sure at Kennedy Airport we did good business. And we needed to make sure that that climate that message got through to all of our partners, because this is a public-private partnership, which is where I believe we need to go.
Ken, it's a partnership.
Yes, it is.
You got it?
DEI is great for capitalism.
It's a partnership.
That's right.
Now, that is Representative Gregory Meeks. I don't know who he was talking to. It didn't seem like a very large crowd.
No, it wasn't. It was at the airport, I guess.
Smattering of applause.
Yeah.
And he says that DEI is good for business. So it's good, Ken. What? It's good that doors flew off of planes, that landing gear drops off of a plane while it's landing. It's all good.
Yeah, let's ask Scott Shepard about that later.
What is he
from the Free Enterprise Project? He's gonna, because that's right in his lane.
Yeah, and
that's
actually,
in his wheelhouse.
He's got dealer's choice on here for us, so we can kind of ask him about anything.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll ask him about that. We'll play that for him too.
Yeah,
and he's coming up next break, by the way, at 9:41.
Yeah.
So DEI is good. DEI is great. I said last week sometime that Karine Jean-Pierre is a DEI hire.
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat box said, Karine Jean-Pierre is a DEI hire? With a couple of question marks. Let's think back to the day she was introduced to the world, right, as the new press secretary, the first black, female, lesbian immigrant. If it wasn't a DEI hire, they would have said, hey, here's our new press secretary. Her name is Karine
studied
Jean-Pierre.
at A, B, C, D.
She went to this college.
Right.
They wouldn't have went through the list if it wasn't a DEI hire. That's why they go through the list.
They go through that list. It's called the check, the boxes that are checked.
So that people will say, look how nice the Biden administration is.
Aww.
They hired the first black lesbian transmitter.
Whatever.
She's not good. So DEI. Ken, I still can't believe it. I still can't believe. I mean, is capitalism dead? Is that it?
No, capitalism will not be dead because of DEI, because if DEI kills capitalism, there won't be capitalism.
Well, there isn't at Disney.
No, you're right. And I don't think it's killing capitalism, but it's killing the businesses that are supporting DEI. I believe that. And
Disney.
And ESG and BlackRock accounts that, we can go down that rabbit hole with them and Vanguard. I mean, there are so many different things about ESG that are similar to DEI.
Well, okay, let's stay on DEI for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I put on, I guess it was Twitter, but nobody saw it because nobody follows me on Twitter, that what's more important to you, success or diversity? And people pick diversity. Some, most of the people pick success. Unless, why are you in business to not be successful? Why did you bother? Right?
You're right. Yeah, I was, I guess about 15 years ago, my wife and I we were looking into seriously, looking into the financing to opening a bakery, hiring people.
Yeah.
We would never have thought, well, we need this color and we need this gender and maybe some genders in between. It would never have taken off in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
If we would have hired people based on, is he a baker? Is she a baker? Do they know how to run a cash register? How good are they with people right now? How good are they good with people? That kind of thing. Then we would have probably been successful.
Not to get too far off what we're talking about here, but I worked at retail stores, drugstores, liquor stores when I was young, all the time. And this was when you typed in the price that it was, right?
Yeah.
Got the subtotal, figured out the tax. Jersey was so easy because it was 5% sales tax across the entire state. So it was real easy. I used to be able to, believe it or not, Mr. No Math used to be able to calculate what the tax was, and the machine never stopped humming. That
Right.
And then if it cost $9.68 and they gave you a 20, you had to figure out what the change was.
Which was pretty easy once you got used to it.
Right. You start with the change, right? You get the change up to $10. Here's 10 and 20, right? And then they couldn't do it nowadays. They barely can do it now when the cash register tells them what change to give back to somebody.
And you know how they add it up as they're handing it to you per dollar, per change and all that stuff? 10, 11, and here's your 20.
Right.
Right? That's the way we used to do it.
Yes,
and
up to the cost.
The customer would look at the money. Oh, okay, this does equal what I gave you. Good, thank you. Today, there's no way in the world any of these people are doing that.
And then you can give them a complete nervous breakdown if it costs $5. If it costs $5 and 25 cents. Let's say it costs $5 and 25 cents.
Yeah.
And you give them a $10 bill
Right.
and 25 cents.
Oh my,
They
deal breaker.
just break down, man, and they can't
You'll
figure
see
out.
a tear going down their eye.
I can't do this. That's part of it, though.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
I mean, I know we have to keep up with technology. Electric cash registers are great, and it tells you exactly. They screw it up anyway, but we've lost that skill as retail people to be able to do that.
Go ahead.
And I think that. Well, I'm gonna. What were we gonna say? Because I'm gonna.
I was just gonna say, early in radio, we used tape. We used reel-to-reel tape, and we cut tape. We had tape floors full of tape. That was how we did it, and then we converted to digital after that. But I love the fact that I was able to learn on that very basic way to do things.
Yep.
And then now with digital, I know where it came from. Right? I think there should be a requirement. I think there should be before kids get on the electronics, they have to start using their paper and a pencil. They have to use that first, maybe for the first two prerequisite classes.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now let's introduce you to electronics.
Right. And audio editing, even in the electronic age, is still a skill.
Well, yeah.
So it's good to learn that. But just as a throwback, to say, here's what we did it. We can sit in the rocking chair on the porch. Here's the way we edited it.
Here's the way we used to do it.
But also, Ken, when we first started in this business, we were literally playing vinyl records, LPs, right?
Yes.
And there was such an art to that, because going from one song to another, we call that a segue. That used to be the first thing on your mind, is to make the segues great,
And,
right?
and smooth, so nobody, if someone heard it and they didn't respond too much to it, they just thought, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So there were so many things with that. Like, first of all, I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. Dance With Me, that happens like 5 times before the actual end of the song. And you got to make sure you know exactly when the last one is.
Right, yeah.
Or you hit the record early. You got to go back and cue it up again, right?
Yeah.
And my son asked me, how did you guys do Pink Floyd on albums? Because they just run into one another.
Kind of.
And you have to have the volume down, turn on the record player, and then turn it up so you didn't hear the up to regular speed.
Yes, and that could have been a precursor to scratching records, because when you sat there,
I'll be damned,
you would sit there and go back and forth.
You
would
roll it in cue, though. The audience
in cue. No, the audience never heard it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, we got so far.
I know it's
your fault because you wrote about it.
I know.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. Okay, so Disney. Listen to this piece of capitalistic headlines. Disney lost over $600 million from just 4 movies last year.
Wow.
After a year of epic failures and flops at the box office. So what happened in those 4 years, right? Buzz Lightyear was gay.
Mm-hmm. They announced to the public that there were going to be many more DEI versions of hosts, or of main characters in all of their animation.
Yeah. Disney, when you're a parent, Disney is a big part of your life, right?
It was, yeah.
Right. I've seen The Little Mermaid at least 100 times or more.
Finding Nemo.
Well, not so much that. For some reason, The Little Mermaid, all my kids just latched on to The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, my daughters did, yeah.
After we saw it in the movies, and then it came out on VHS, we had to watch it every night, right? And there's still lines that we use at home. Like, if you say something that is obvious, we talk about Scuttle, the bird.
Yeah.
That says, I was flying. Well, of course I was flying. That's what he says.
Right.
He's a bird. Of course I was flying. We use that all the time. Not to mention the cover of The Little Mermaid, VHS. Do you know about the whole controversy there? So there's a castle, right?
Right.
King Triton's castle, I guess, in the background.
Yeah.
And the column in the middle is a weenie.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Not only because I'm, for scientific purposes.
Of course. But they were sick too. Besides, there's one about the Great Mouse Detective when they're traveling somewhere and they go by a window, and in that window for just a frame or 2 quick seconds is a topless woman, and you could see her breasts.
And they showed you've actually seen it?
Oh yeah, Roger Rabbit, when Jessica Rabbit's in the taxi and the taxi crashes and she hits against the tree, she's got no underwear on and her legs are open.
Oh,
I swear to God.
And then what about the one I heard that had something to do with Minnie Mouse's dress?
I don't know that one, but I'm sure it is. Point is, Disney made movies that weren't woke, okay? They were just the boy meets the girl, they fall in love, and that's the end of the story, right?
Right.
Even if the girl is a fish and the guy is a human.
Right.
Somehow it works out.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And now it's like somebody's got to be gay. Somebody's got to be trans. No white people characters in the movie. And they're losing money hand over fist, $600 million in just 4 movies.
Well, I can tell you one of those movies I saw with my wife. We went to see. We loved Indiana Jones,
which I didn't know was a Disney movie until this morning.
and we went to see it. Vic, I couldn't tell you what it was about. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but I do know that it sucked.
Yeah.
Because we walked out there looking at each other, going, "Are you kidding me?"
Yep.
Because the new, I guess, handing the torch to what is a woman, and it just to me it ruined the whole thing.
Well, they didn't make money; they lost money. It's not how much money they made or how little money they made. They lost
Like
$600 million,
almost $1 billion
in 4 movies. They didn't make any movie that was good. Out of those 4 movies, they all lost money. So clearly, to Disney, DEI and ESG and diversity and all that
stuff
is more important than success. Have it your way. Fine. All right. Hey, our podcast is up every day. All right. Ken puts up the podcast of this show every single day. You can watch that. Yesterday, which we forgot to mention, our Uncensored podcast dropped at noon yesterday. You can watch that. And feel free to watch us on all of our streams on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rumble, on that's it, right?
Yeah.
YouTube. We haven't got kicked off of there yet.
But our Uncensored podcast, Katie Fitzpatrick's featured in it.
That's right. She's our special guest, and who doesn't love her? So, and by the way, if this show does better than our other one, she's going to be on every time.
Right.
All right, up next, Scott Shepard from the Free Enterprise Project and the National Center for Public Policy Research. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show.
In our time, there's still the old ghost of new garments. We all need to rise to meet the moment.
On Newstalk STL.
I'll get my homework. So listen, if you don't have a firearm yet, you may sometimes feel unprotected. You're not protecting your family and your home and your own life. I never had firearms ever in my life until the Mike Brown. Boy, that's pretty close, isn't it? Mike Brown and Ferguson. Mike Brown riots happened. And do you remember, Ken, they were starting to spread out into suburbia?
Yes.
I was getting a little nervous. So I said to my wife, let's go get some guns. So we did. And now I feel protected. You can too if you go to Southern Armory and get your firearms, whether it's your first firearm or whether you know what you're doing. Even if you know what you're doing, get the latest and greatest in information and accessories and gear for your firearms at Southern Armory. Okay?
And since you referred to me, I did get mine from there.
Yes, you did. And tell everybody about the great staff there, not just knowledgeable, but they don't talk down to you.
No, they don't at all. Jessica, and then Jessica has a number of people with her that if you have a question and she can't get it clearly, then they chime in. They're all veterans, And Piper's there too,
Oh, I love
little
Piper.
Piper, and so she'll help you too. if
Piper
possible.
included, and those guys have done the Pledge of Allegiance for us. So
That's right.
They're patriots too. So go to Southern Armory, find them on Facebook. Make sure you go to their website at southernarmory.com. If you're going to go visit, please do so. It's 9901 Watson Road. Southern Armory has Wise Food Buckets, 25-year shelf life, and you can get those there too. Southernarmory.com, southernarmory.com.
Columbo and Katie.
The Missouri legislative session started with drama. Now it's ending with drama, and voters are paying the price. We'll get an update on where things stand Wednesday for Rodney Boyd at 2:20. Then we'll open closest cabinet at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it, and they are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Columbo and Katie.
Bernie Sanders trying to make the case for the 32-hour work week. He doesn't want rich people to be rich. In his utopia, everybody makes $1 million to not work. He was coherent.
He was.
The president is not. The lights are on in Bernie's house. It's just that they're all kerosene gas lamps from 1922. But they're on.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
The warmer weather is here. Time to swing by Espino's Mexican Bar and Grill at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. The Margarita Garden's open, and inside, Chef Espino serving up those authentic Mexican specialties. Espino's your one-stop shop for all your catering needs as well. Espino's MexicanBarGrill.com for everything that Espino's has to offer, from all their cold drinks, fantastic live local music, and those authentic Mexican specialties. 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, Espino'sMexicanBarGrill.com.
Hi, I'm Officer Jacob Boomgarden with the Springfield, Missouri Police Department. We're currently looking for driven, qualified team players to become the next generation of community-minded servants in Springfield, Missouri. Our salaries and benefits are paid from day one. Plus, a career with the SPD gives you a truly unique opportunity to serve the community as a leader of it. To learn more, visit gospd.com. That's gospd.com. gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
News, analysis, opinion.
One organizer taught attendees how to chant "Death to America."
I announced proceedings concerning the impeachment of Alejandro Nicolas Mayorkas.
1019 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
Newstalk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over here, dear.
You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show on Newstalk STL.
Sounds like a horn section, right?
Yeah.
No, Billy Payne on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So good. Little feet, let it roll. All right, good morning. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ken Williams over there, the master. And right now our guest, frequent guest, we love him, from the National Center for Public Policy Research and the Free Enterprise Project, Scott Shepard. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Vic. How are you, gents?
Doing good. Listen, we had a little emotional conversation. Not the whole segment, but the last time we had Ethan Peck on, he had made a post on Twitter about how offended he was as a Jew. I didn't realize he was Jewish. I don't think about it. I don't think, oh, he must be Jewish. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it was really a moving kind of conversation we had. And you don't think about people. I blame myself too. I don't think about enough people like Ethan Peck and Karen Catalin, who we talk to every Thursday, who are deeply hurt by this whole Israeli thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's their relatives, it's their friends, but also they're human beings. I think we all ought to be deeply horrified and hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if it's not for any biblical reasons or anything, but after the 40s, it is certainly one of the duties of the last best hope on earth to protect as far as we're able, this hunted and decimated people, that they may have a sliver of land on the earth to call their own,
right,
and not be attacked by a billion people who have 22 nations. Right. That's a solemn duty for all of us.
Well, you're right. You're right. And, I never thought of it in that way. It's like the smallest little sliver of land we just want to call ours. Just leave us alone and let us be. We don't want to wipe out anybody. We just want to be. All right.
That's all they want. And yet the left, as one voice, is willing to tear apart society throughout the rest of the world in order to tear apart that society. It's disgusting.
It is. So I really feel like I connected with Ethan, that because Ethan, he's very, low key. Usually by the end,
wonderful young spirit.
He's great. And usually by the end of our conversations, I got him laughing and trying to tell jokes and stuff. So it's great. All right. So say hi to Ethan for us. All right.
Well, always.
So let's talk about climate and the things the lies that we were told, Scott. Ken already knew this. I catch on maybe later than other people. There was some guy in the 1970s who invented an engine for a car that will work a car that you put water in instead of gas, and it separates the hydrogen from the oxygen, and then there's this other little thing that converts the hydrogen into power and powers your car. Well, guess what? That guy was mysteriously murdered.
Now, wait a second. Did this really happen in the 70s, or is Ken remembering an episode of That 70s Show where Kelso was suggesting this?
Were you watching the 70s show? No, I watched a documentary on this. And how come that didn't go on? You see what I'm saying? There are so many other things. We talked about nuclear, right? We don't talk about nuclear. The cleanest energy, it's got to be the way they want it or nothing. Electric, which needs coal to run. Why does it always have to be their way? They're like little babies. I'm sick of them.
Well, because the goal isn't really, for the lower downs it is to clean the environment, but for the people who are running this, it's about controlling our lives.
Yep.
Right? and coming up with anything that would very quickly create a lot of power, well, that's the reverse. That sets people free. And they don't want us to be free. They want their crowd that goes to Davos every year to be free, and they explicitly want there to be fewer of us and have us more constrained so that they can have the bounty of the earth to themselves. I know that sounds nuts, and I would have called myself nuts 5 years ago. Having looked at it every day since then, that's what it is.
And they're, electric cars, they make electric cars sound like they're so clean, right? But the batteries, the mining for the minerals that go into the batteries are done by young kids. I think they just hate kids. They like to kill babies, right? They're all for abortion. They don't care about these sweatshops in China. The young kids that have to mine these batteries, nothing they say makes sense. Plus the cost of it and what it's doing to the earth. It's doing more damage to the earth than fossil fuel is. So if they're really trying to destroy the earth their way, what's left to live when it's all done?
Well, we have a proposal at Ford about this. Ford lost a ton of money over going into EVs that nobody can use and nobody wants. And it also has lied and lied and lied and made stuff up and jerry-rigged processes to hide the fact that it is getting enough cobalt to put these batteries that can't be recycled together. And it's almost certainly coming from the Congo, and it almost certainly involves slave labor. And somehow that doesn't matter, right? So you've got all these environmental. This is all supposed to be done to save the earth, but and to advance human rights. But the human rights of the as you say, the kids and the slaves working these mines in the Congo, they don't matter because this is for the noble cause. Well, this is a sort of religious thinking for a really screwed up religion.
Yeah. And we saw, Kenny and I saw a story last week. Ford lost $100,000 a vehicle, electric vehicle, $100,000 per vehicle. And then the UAW.
There's Bidenomics for you.
Yeah, no kidding. The UAW, I don't know why you'd want to be a member of the, have you guys infiltrated the UAW at all?
Well, we don't really even have to anymore.
That's true.
This is not your This is a situation where you got the heads of the unions, just like the heads of these corporations have been bought by the left, and then they get taken to the same, the same parties and stuff, and they don't represent in any way their membership anymore.
Yeah,
right?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you're my guest.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
I was going to mention something real quick here. Scott mentioned the Congo, and I'm worried about the fish.
The fish fillets? Me too. We'll play that for him before we leave. So here, I'm going to exaggerate just a little bit, okay? So if you're a Jew, right? Oh, let me preface this by saying I saw on one of the tents in one of these encampments at the college campuses that a UAW logo on one of the tents. And I said, it's got to be Photoshop. No way it's real. I mean, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. It's got to be Photoshop. And then I see one of these idiots holding a sign that says UAW, right? So now I'm like, what if you're a Jew and you work on the line and you're a member of the UAW? You may think the rest of these guys are going to come attack you and kill you.
Well, I mean, but it's all across the Watchtower. What if you're a gay Jew and you're lectured by the Human Rights Campaign and all of these left-wing imbeciles that you have to support the only homeland of Jews in the world being attacked and hostages taken and rapes and baby killing, and you have to support all these countries that think you ought to be thrown off a high roof. I mean, what in the hell is wrong? Well, we know what's wrong with them. They're no longer what they pretend to be. They're just outlets of the hard left. Full stop.
Yeah. And you know what? The Free Enterprise Project, I want to make sure I understand what you guys do there. You buy shares, stock in a company enough that you can go to shareholder meetings and ask questions. Is that basically what you do?
No, we buy enough so that we can submit shareholder proposals.
Okay. So have you done that with BlackRock?
Yeah. Yep, that's their meeting is next Wednesday. Our proposal this year happens to be about. We asked BlackRock to just run a report, see whether you might be discriminating against your employees and others on the basis of viewpoint discrimination, and maybe think about whether that could hurt your business. It turns out they've had that proposal for a year. Most companies at least try to interact with us as a pretense. Nothing for a whole year. Nothing from BlackRock. And it turns out that Larry Fink and BlackRock have been masters at pushing the kind of viewpoint discrimination from higher ed that I'm aware of, because I used to be a law professor, into the corporate arena with really, really disgusting, hateful results. And so, of course, they didn't negotiate about it. Of course, they pretend they don't have one. But, of course, they do have one because BlackRock, Larry Fink brought it over.
Yeah. And isn't it true that their market offerings are helping to fund Chinese nukes?
Yes, they are.
What the hell?
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that they've worked out a deal so that the nukes aren't aimed at Larry's house.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not kidding. When does this become treason? Okay? When does what Mark Milley does and calls his counterpart in China and says, if Donald Trump is going to attack you, I'll call you and let you know. When is it treason? When you're helping the enemy?
Well, that's definitely treason. Mark Milley should be in jail, but most of this administration, Garland should go to jail for the rest of his life. So it's all across the Watchtower again. But BlackRock, at very least, I don't know about treason yet, but it is certainly the greatest fiduciary duty violation machine in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Everything it does violates its fiduciary duties, and at some point, it's a level of fiduciary duty that becomes theft. So I think we're in criminal territory, certainly, if not treason territory.
I agree. And we just talked about this at length the break before you, so I don't want to get too far into it. But isn't Disney avoiding their fiduciary duties to their shareholders with the crap they're putting out and losing $600 million?
Well, I mean, only because Eigel is so terrible. But they're in the contest for fiduciary duty breaching machines. They're ridiculous, and they come right out and say it. They've had the people. And
they don't
I
care.
told Eigel to his face at that meeting. Well, I mean, virtually to his face. They've got people come out and say, we hate our customer base. We're going to make stuff they hate and get a new customer base. Well, that's not how it works. Right. And Disney's the result.
Two quick things before we leave. Were you listening to Bob Dylan records before you came on with this? You did two all along the Watchtower references.
Oh, Well, I'm a half generation, I think, behind that, and so I love that song, but it's Dave Matthews' version.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
God, I thought you at least say Jimi Hendrix. And then finally, you know, we're talking about electric cars and the kids in the Congo. Joe Biden also is very worried about something else.
But I feel badly also about the fistulas that are taking place in eastern Congo.
What in the hell? The
So,
fistulas are taking
yeah.
place? You know what that?
Are the fish being made to work in those cobalt mines as well?
Excuse me. It's not fish. It's fishtolets. Okay. It's fish are adults. Fishtolets are baby. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and neither does Joe Biden. So,
and boy, would I have loved taking a class that you were the professor at. Oh
No
my
kidding.
God, that would have been great. We would have got no work done. All right, Scott, tell us a little bit about you on social media, Free Enterprise Project, and the National Center, please.
Well, we're at freeenterpriseproject.org, nationalcenter.org. I'm sane, so I avoid social media. But Ethan's on there, and the National Center's on there. And check out, if you own shares, check out the Proxy Navigator apps or website, and
nice.
set yourself up for the rest of the year to get to vote your shares according to your values, if there are values.
now where is that located?
I love that.
The Proxy Navigator?
Proxy Navigator. It's on both of the big app stores, and then there's a website as well for people my age who don't like trying to type on their thumbs with type with their thumbs on a postage stamp.
And you can find it all at nationalcenter.org. Say hi to Dr. Bonner Cohen for us, okay?
Of course.
All right, Scott, thank you, man.
Jens.
Thank you.
Yes, Scott.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, fiduciary duties.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yes, it does.
No making money.
But I can't believe it. Why would you buy stock in Disney right now? Why?
Why? Yeah.
Here, just take my money, slap me in the ass, slap me
in the face.
Yeah. It's all right. All right, let's do some news before I get in trouble, and we'll do some more after 10. God.
As spring is about to be sprung, are you in the market for new windows? Look no further than Window World. Window World, simply the best for less. Tim Jones here for Window World. Give him a call today, 314-993-1800. One of only 2 window companies in the country that carry the coveted Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World windows are not only durable, they offer security, beauty, and energy efficiency. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. Give him a call, 314-993-1800. Check them out at windowworld.com. That's windowworld.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. The Israeli military body in charge of Palestinian civil affairs says the Kerem Shalom crossing reopened early today. UN agencies and aid groups have ramped up humanitarian assistance in recent weeks as Israel has lifted some restrictions and opened an additional crossing in the north. Retired Navy Admiral James Stavridis says Israel will be seriously hampered in its effort to protect civilians in Gaza by the U.S. decision to delay shipment of high-precision missiles.
A joint direct action munition, JDAM is the acronym. It's a very accurate form of airdropped weapon that can be used with extreme precision.
Stavridis tells the Salem Radio Network the delay will force Israel to use less precise weapons in Gaza, which is likely to lead to even more collateral damage. President Biden is under fire from all sides for his handling of the crisis in Israel, but GOP Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas says that should come as no surprise.
Joe Biden is almost always wrong. He has terrible instincts. His staff's instincts are worse. Their political incentives are even worse. Yet most bizarrely at all, he seems supremely confident in his own abilities.
Cotton told the Salem Radio Network Mr. Biden has been on the wrong side of almost all foreign policy conflicts, dating back to the Cold War. A Georgia appeals court has agreed to review a lower court ruling allowing Fani Willis to continue to prosecute the election interference case she brought against Donald Trump. The former president and some other defendants in the case had tried to get the Fulton County District Attorney and her office removed from the case. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 81 points. The Nasdaq is down 2. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word FAITH to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
A deadline is
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
After a beautiful start, destructive thunderstorms are possible today. We expect those storms to come in a couple of waves from late this morning into the afternoon, ending this evening. Large hail, damaging winds, even a strong tornado possible, up to about 83 for our high. And then dry and partly cloudy tonight, we drop down to near 60. Finally, the pattern breaks tomorrow. We're partly cloudy, we're cooler. Thursday's high at 73. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right. So, at the end of the last hour there, I almost, cussed. I've been told I cuss too much.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Bandit slapped me around a little bit yesterday and told me not to cuss so much. So I'm trying, okay?
You are.
But it is an addiction, I found out.
It is.
Yeah.
We need an intervention.
Yep, absolutely. I need to go to a rehab where you can't curse. Could you imagine? Oh, my God. I'd get thrown out the first day.
They have money jars all around the place. So
swear jars.
Swear jars.
Right.
Yeah. That's part of your rehab.
Oh, my God. Mark Carter from the St. Louis County Council will be by today at 10:41. We'll check the chat box, I promise, 10:25 right now. Kenny, you ready for this?
Timmy.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane.
Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
Yeah, baby. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. We're singing in the rain over here in Jefferson City, Missouri, which you know what that means. You know what that means since it's raining here. You know what that makes this today?
What?
It's a wet hump day.
It's a wet hump day.
It is a wet hump day.
That's okay. We haven't even found out where we...
It's a rather moist hump day.
Oh, he used the word. Oh, my God. that should be a word that's you can't say even though it's not a cuss word.
Yeah, women don't like that word.
Hold on.
Moist.
We're getting way off track
I know
here,
we are.
Jones.
We are.
Okay,
he's trying to.
Squirrely. I know it makes everyone squirrely. Hey guys, guess what? I have something that you never get.
What?
Breaking news.
Go ahead. Before 11 o'clock. I love it.
News. You know all the breaking news happens at 11:05.
Exactly.
Well, I've got breaking news at 10:05.
Love it.
Exclusively. This is the first program or person I've actually spoken with about this. So you two and your massive audience are the first to hear this here in St. Louis. We just found out here in Jefferson City that Governor Mike Parson will be signing tomorrow morning the defund Planned Parenthood abortion provider bill, a Missouri Freedom Caucus priority across the finish line and headed to the law book.
Well, it's about time. About time. I mentioned the other day, I forgot what our governor's name was. I never hear from him, or sign anything the right way. All right, now hold on. You're getting us way off track, and I know you're doing it on purpose, so just cut the... So listen to me. You have been on a private jet with Donald Trump, and we just find out about this now?
Well, it was a long time ago.
I don't care!
I told everybody back then, but, somebody was questioning my... There's a bunch of lunatics running around Missouri right now. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this, but, heading, especially in campaign silly season, everybody's trying to out-Trump and out-conservative the next person, you know?
Yep.
And I'm kind of getting tired of it, especially the people who don't know me, my history. You know what? I'm gonna play this card. I've been doing this now longer than just about any of these lunatics out there that claim that they're conservatives. They're campaign conservatives. They're conservatives when it fits them. Back in the day, I was still, green under the gills and hadn't had a lot of piss and vinegar in me. But now I do. I'm well seasoned, and I'm not going to let anybody out Trump or out conservative me. So I posted some photos I had from back in because somebody was questioning my credibility on that, and I'm like, first of all, I'm not even running for office. I love how I live in the attics of these of these wacko birds, rent free.
Oh, they're wacko.
And I'm not even running for office. I've been out of office for 9 years. I did get to meet the president. I've gotten to meet him several times. The first time I met him was in September of 2016. He came to St. Louis, and this just shows what the man is. Okay, he came to St. Louis unannounced. No, there was no fanfare. He came for Phyllis Schlafly's funeral.
Oh, wow.
And he came in privately on Trump Force One because back then he was not president yet. He was going to become president. We didn't know that, but this was 2016. And he came in to pay his respects to the great Phyllis Schlafly in St. Louis. He did not do any events. He did not do any rallies. So for everybody who thinks he's such an egotistical maniac, he came to St. Louis, paid his respects to one of the greatest lady leaders in our time, and then he went back to the airport. He reached out to some local people just to get a private meeting with kind of the party intelligentsia at the time. And our good friend Paul Kurtman gave me a holler and said, "What are you doing this afternoon?" And I said, it was a Saturday. I said, just wrapped up Eureka Days parade in Eureka, and I'm kind of just doing stuff around the house with the kids and blah, blah, blah. He said, "I need you at the airport at 3 o'clock this afternoon." And we went up there to the other side of Lambert, where all the private jets come in, and we got to spend time with the president. The future president. He listened. He spoke with us in a very like personal way, like he had known us all forever. He wanted to know what was happening, not only in Missouri but in the greater Midwest, what we thought about his current stances in all the states, and what he could do better or change or do more of. And it was a wonderful meeting, and we all got pictures and photographs with him. And then he said, "Sayonara, see you later," and the staff kicked us off.
You know what, Tim? I give you credit. I really do. Because if I ever was on Trump Force One and met Donald Trump, I mean, I literally learned about this yesterday with your tweet, right? If that were me, I'd be like, "Hi, Vic Porcelli. Yeah, I met Donald Trump. I was on his plane. How you doing?" I wouldn't. I wouldn't stop talking about it. So I think it's great, honestly. I'm just giving you trouble.
You wear a sign around your neck, right?
You bet. You bet. Yeah, you bet. Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry. I got us off on it. So the Planned Parenthood thing signed by the governor.
Yes. And guys, we did a little one of our Missouri Freedom Caucus members, the great Representative Ben Keithley from right here in our listening region, Chesterfield, Missouri. He's a great guy. Made some history when he got elected. He is Indian American. He is one of the most conservative dudes in the House. He is one of Justin Sparks' best friends. They're great guys. They're great legislators. They're great conservatives. And Ben put together a list yesterday of all the bills that have gone to the governor's desk. There have only been 7. Hey, you know what? I'm glad we've killed all the bad stuff this year. There's a couple big bills that I'm sure we're going to talk about that still need to get there. But out of the 7 pieces of legislation that have gone to the governor's desk, 5 of them were carried or handled or prepared by Missouri Freedom Caucus members. So defund Planned Parenthood is one of them. The big education bill was signed yesterday into law, the school choice bill, another Freedom Caucus priority. So for all the haters and the nattering nabobs and negativity out there who said, oh, the Missouri Freedom Caucus is just here to obstruct and delay. Au contraire, mon frere, we're the ones actually passing bills. We're the ones putting key Republican priorities on the governor's desk, getting them across the finish line. Fellas, there's a few more things, a few big things that still have to be done, but this is already one of the more productive sessions we've had in the last 5 years.
Love it.
And productive in a good way.
Of course.
Productive in a way that conservatives can be proud of.
Boy, Jess Piper's blood pressure is like going through the roof right now.
Oh, she can't handle it. We need to put her on we better do a health check.
We cannot. She's getting rushed to the hospital right now. Yeah, there we go. Paying the piper. All right. So, what about, so that's great. Defund Planned Parenthood. Fantastic. School choice. Fantastic. One of the more important ones, too. Initiative, petition, reform. What about that?
So, not done yet. Still needs 1 vote. Still sitting in the Senate. The Missouri Freedom Caucus, number 1 priority. The only reason it is where it is at the point that it is because of the Freedom Caucus senators and the House members who demanded that this bill continue to move, despite the fact that, as I've told you, fellas, the Republican leadership, not all of them, but a big chunk of them, enough of them to slow down and kill bills, have been against initiative petition reform. Everyone's going, what? Well, we talked about this last week. There is a multi-million-dollar McMansion industry set up around initiative petitions, and these rent-a-Republican consultants, they don't care what the issue is. They don't care if we're expanding Medicaid or putting ranked choice voting in. They just see the dollar signs and the additions to their bank books.
Yeah.
And so they don't want these things to change. There's a lot of other special interests that don't as well. The Freedom Caucus said, nope, that's enough. This is the 7th session. We've worked on this. It is 1 vote away in the Senate. There's a very, very fragile, could very well be broken truce and promise on this that we will get this done this week. I need people to continue to call, as I know you have been, Senator Cindy O'Loughlin's office. She's the floor leader, and the bill handler, Mary Elizabeth Coleman, a state senator from our region, from Jefferson County. These 2 ladies, either one of them, any second of any day could say, I make the motion to 3rd read and pass this bill. Right. It needs 1 final vote in the Senate, and then it goes to the voters. It's sitting there on the Senate calendar. It's, ripe as a week-old banana. It needs to be passed and done. I don't know what the holdup is. I know it has to do with connecting it to some other things like the budget, but I say no time like the present. Let's get this done. It's been now on the calendar for, what is today, Wednesday? It's been now on the calendar for 7 legislative days without action. Everybody in the Freedom Caucus is waiting to vote for it and support it. I wish Senate leadership would do the same.
So here's my thoughts on this, okay? The initiative petition reform bill is for it's wide ranging, right? To petitions in general. But this particular election cycle, I think that the initiative petition bill and the Planned Parenthood, defund the Planned Parenthood, are kind of like sister bills, right? You got one, now we need the other, particularly this election cycle, because it's all about changing the constitution of the state to allow abortion on demand. So it won't matter if Planned Parenthood is open or not. They'll find other places to get an abortion.
That's right, Vic. Our Constitution needs to stop being the little pretty playground for out-of-state leftist billionaires to do their progressive leftist policy work through, right? That's not what a Constitution is for. A Constitution should be very hard to amend. Legislatively, statutes, those should be easier to amend, right? And did you know that we have, in addition to the legislature going into session every single year for 5 months out of the year, plus special sessions, the people can do statutory referendums too. But no, that's not good enough for the left. They want to put things in our Constitution so they're harder to change in the future. Our Constitution should be hard to change in the first place, right? The U.S. Constitution is, it takes 2/3 of the states to amend the U.S. Constitution. It's only been amended a handful of times in our nation's entire history. The Missouri Constitution is sort of becoming a joke. We got everything in there from marijuana to bingo to, Lord knows what. There are some important things in the Constitution. There have been some important amendments, but now it's a way for out-of-state left-wing billionaires and special interests to circumvent the Republican supermajority, put a bunch of really good-sounding things on the ballot that do the exact opposite. What does the left always do, guys? Everything they say, the opposite is true. That is true of these ballot initiatives. So that's all that IP reform does. It says the Missouri Constitution shall be a little harder to amend. It protects our state from being an abortion-on-demand state this year, Vic, as you just pointed out, and in the future, having our Second Amendment rights taken away, our taxes jacked through the roof. They'll come for everything if they can through the Constitution. That's why the Constitution needs to stop being, as I said, the little pretty playground of out-of-state left-wing billionaires. It's one vote away, and then we the people actually get to decide if we want the Constitution to be harder to amend. So the legislature is simply trying to put the question on the ballot itself. That's the height of representative democracy. Having your representatives ask the people if they want to change a process that's arguably broken. And so that's all we're trying to do. Let's get it done. The clock is ticking. We're down to 7 legislative days. We've got today, Thursday, Friday, and then next week, and then that's it. The gavel drops next Friday at 6 p.m.
Anything they say, I know, is complete opposite.
Jim Brewer knows. I don't know why anybody else doesn't know. All right, Tim, couple of things here before we run out of time. I'm actually a little surprised that, because correct me if I'm wrong here, the primaries are in August, and
Correct.
Why am I not hearing about these great conservative candidates that are going up against these losers that are calling themselves Republicans and holding things up? I mean, why aren't I here? I know Caleb Rowden is getting termed out, so it may be too late because he's ruining things. But, these other people who are not conservatives, where are these candidates that are going up against them in August? Why don't we have them on the air? Who are they?
So, great question. You're going to get sick and tired, guys, of hearing about them by the time we get to August. So when the gavel drops next week in Jefferson City, the very next week, the conversations will turn to that. We'll do a little bit of postmortem. We'll let the dust settle. We'll unpack some of the things that happened. But fellas, by June 1st, it's going to be wall-to-wall campaign coverage here at NewstalkSTL.
Right.
You'll hear it from yours truly. You'll hear it from my co-host, Chris Arps. You'll hear it from everybody from Mike Ferguson in the morning through you guys mid-mornings to the, Larry Connors, the Rob Carter show at night, Columbo and Katie, the weekends with Doc Tobler and Nikki 12 Show Schroer. I mean, everybody will be talking about it. So you'll get all that stuff. You know how it is, guys. You guys drink from this fire hose every day, right?
Yeah.
You and our listeners, we know lots more than the common duck. Everybody, Joe and Jane American have got other zillions of things going on. They don't have look, we're blessed. We're blessed to be able to do what we do. Other people are focused on many other things. If we talk about some of this stuff too early, people are going to forget. They're going to get tired of hearing about it. So after June 1st, those 2 months, there'll be 2 months, June and July.
Okay.
And then, as you said, Vic, the primaries early August. I personally will go through some of the critical races in the state Senate and state House and the statewide elections. I promise you, you'll get your fill.
All right. I feel kind of stupid now because the strategy is more chess.
No, you're
and
right. You're
playing
fine.
checkers.
It's a great question.
Kenny's got a question.
Well, Tim and Vic, both. Actually, Tim, you mentioned that people aren't paying attention, that are just going through their everyday lives, just your normal everyday individual. They're not engaged, but I believe that they're starting to look now, because this morning I told my wife a couple days ago, Today's Show was giving full coverage to the Trump trial because they had all these different things that they could say against Trump, right? Well, I told her yesterday, I said, if this thing comes out to where it's, there's a problem with the trial, if anything happens that's negative toward them and positive for Trump, they're not going to mention Trump ever. And today, guess what? This morning, not one word about Trump and his trials. And my wife was the one who came to me and said, hey, you were right.
Yep.
They didn't say one word about
Ken,
Trump.
That's the indicator right there.
Yep.
Timmy, what do you think?
How amazing is that? And an addendum to Vic, great question you just asked me. The other thing, Vic, that's going on is everybody is hyper-focused on what Ken just talked about. Everybody's hyper-focused on Trump v. Biden, right? And that is extremely important. So as we get closer to the August primary in Missouri, we'll continue to focus on Trump v. Biden, but we'll put that on a little bit of a back burner because that doesn't happen in November. So as we get closer to these elections, people will start going, oh, wait a minute. there's other stuff on the ballot this year, right? Yeah, we have Trump v. Biden, but in Missouri, we've got Josh Hawley running for election for U.S. Senate. We've got gubernatorial race. We got a race for governor. 5 of our 6 statewide offices, the entire Missouri House, half of the Senate, all of Congress. So people will start focusing on it. And Ken, to your point, oh my goodness, the lawfare, as we predicted, has been a loser. It's been a giant loser.
A loser.
The Jack Smith case now pushed back after the election. The Alvin Bragg case imploding before our very eyes. When was the last time you heard anything about Fonnie Willis down there in Georgia? That case has been pushed into the nether regions. I mean, everything they tried turned to you know what, as the great Donald would say, because there was nothing there to begin with.
Yep.
And you know what? I hope our justice system hasn't been too damaged along their Trump derangement syndrome sidewalk.
Well, that's pretty close. All right, finally, we only have about 30 seconds left, but I think I rode by your law office in Eureka yesterday.
Oh yeah, well that's the little political headquarters. We don't talk about what goes on in there. You just have to get admission.
No, the only reason my wife has this friend, 89-year-old woman, who wants to get into the technology age. So my wife, being the good doobie that she is, we went down and had dinner with her last night, hooked her up with a tablet and a watch and all that stuff. And I went to get pizza at Bacardi's, Joe Bacardi's.
Yeah.
And when I came back, she goes, "Oh, Tim Jones's office is right there." I was like, "Oh my God, that's great." So anyway, I was in your neighborhood, beautiful downtown
Leadership
Eureka.
for America, because who's against that?
Right, exactly right. Tim, thank you so much.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Vic. Joe is a great American. Joe Bacardi and his entire family, Bacardis, they're great Americans. They're huge Trump fans. Joe came over here from the motherland, and he grew up less than 50 miles away from my grandpa Tuno over in the mother country.
Perfect. All right, we'll listen to you this afternoon with Chris Arps. Speaker Jones, thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Continue to have a spectacular show.
Whoosh, my speaker.
Whoosh, my brother.
All right. Tim Jones. Well, we covered a lot of stuff there, Ken. Don't you agree that this initiative petition reform and Planned Parenthood are sister bills right now?
Oh yeah.
Wish.
And if you don't, if you don't pass the initiative petition bill, then the Planned Parenthood thing, they'll go get an abortion somewhere else. There'll be a different group, organization doing abortions.
Yeah.
All right, I promise you, we'll get to the chat box next. We're also going to hear some thoughts on the Donald Trump classified Mar-a-Lago thing. That's all coming up next on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL, The Vic Porcelli Show.
But I feel badly also about the fistulas that are taking place in Eastern Congo.
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on NewstalkSTL.
Wish.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Hey, what are you going to do? Nice college boy, huh? They want to get mixed up in the family business? Now you want to gun down a police captain, why? Because he slapped you in the face a little bit? Huh? What do you think, this is the army where you shoot him a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit. Come in. Mwah.
On Newstalk STL.
Jack Smith has just been exposed by Judge Cannon of doing what? Lying to a federal court. These guys keep doing it. The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at DOJ? And they learn it from the same place, the top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering them on. I hope Judge Cannon, he's an actual fun legal thing that should actually be occurring. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice for lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
Wouldn't that be great? Kash Patel right there, who, of course, worked with Donald Trump during his administration. And you know what, Ken? The more they go after Trump, the more their true colors are coming through, that he really hasn't done things wrong. They just want him out because they are afraid of him. And when he goes and drains the swamp, man, you're going to see a bloodbath.
This is what I find very interesting. And Vic, you brought this up about the debates coming up, and I really find that interesting as well. And I'm going to do a comparison here real quick.
Yeah.
You said, what I want Donald Trump to do, I wish he would talk to me before he does a debate, because if he did, I would tell him to just fold his arms, step back, and let Biden talk.
Yep.
And what that would do is reveal that how much of an imbecile and actually how much dementia Joe Biden has and how he can't control himself. And that's the same thing happening here. Donald Trump's innocent, all right? These guys are the ones who are corrupt. This whole apparatus is corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So all he has to do really is sit back and let them open their mouths and then have people investigate them, because they do. Once this starts, they investigate them. They go, wait a minute.
Yep. And the thing, too, about my little piece of advice for President Trump, to, like Ken just said, fold your arms, stand back, let him say something like, we created 15 million new jobs. Let him say it, and then when he's done, say, no, you didn't. And I think that'll be more powerful than trying to interrupt him.
I think we'll be on two different levels, though. That level, because that's a fact, but also because Joe Biden gets himself all tied up in a knot, and if Trump is quiet, Joe Biden's going to go, well,
right.
Well, anyway.
Why isn't he interrupting me? What's going on here?
Exactly.
He won't be able to handle it. All right. So that was Kash Patel. Matter of fact, I got some more Kash Patel I'd like everybody to hear. Laying out the corruption and schemes against Trump. Number 5, sorry.
Sorry, Vic.
Go.
These guys are, again, doing the same scam, the same illegal run. And they did it in Russiagate. They did it in Hillary Clinton's investigation. They did it against Donald Trump. And they are continuing to do it today by burying and withholding evidence and lying to federal judges. I mean, did the world just hear what I said? Federal prosecutors are burying and withholding evidence and lying to federal judges, and the radical left-wing media is like, it's just another Tuesday. I mean, we predicted it based on the illicit conduct, whether it's at NARA or coordination from the Biden administration, showing they had essentially directed Merrick Garland to bring these prosecutions, or DOJ prosecutors telling the NARA librarians and Gary Stern, their lawyer, don't work with Trump officials. These guys now metastasize that unlawful, unconstitutional behavior, and they rigged a total hit job against President Trump. And the prosecutor says, Judge, I lied, but please forgive me. Don't worry about it. I'll be good from now on. I was a prosecutor. I never did that. And if I did, they should send me to prison.
Kash Patel again. You know what? If you are the type of person who is offended by Trump's demeanor already, politics out of it, and then you start hearing lies like he colluded with the Russians, he
PP tape.
I was trying to figure out a way to say that, so thank you without using bad words. This whole thing, Stormy Daniels, everything. So if you already have a problem with his demeanor, these are just going to push you over the edge as he's a terrible person, right? I talk all the time about a conversation I had with somebody I worked with. I will leave out name and gender, who said, I said to this person, do you really think that he colluded with the Russians to win the election? And the person said, yes, I do. Well, where was her proof? Where was this person's proof?
Right.
I just blew the gender thing. Right.
But that's how you do it, though. No, that's a good instruction for everybody when they're faced with that in real life.
Plus,
just ask them. Just say, well, where? Okay. Show me.
This was when he was calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Boy. Remember?
Yeah.
And this person said, well, why does he have to puff out his chest and threat nukes? You know? I said, whoa. He never said nuke.
No.
Okay? Mother of all bombs was a conventional weapon.
Yep.
So don't give me that either. Learn something. Instead of you don't like his demeanor, that means he committed all these crimes, okay? I can find plenty of people whose demeanor I don't like, but I can't say that they committed crimes and make stuff up.
I would say, would you rather have him puff his chest out in front of Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping, or would you rather have him kiss their hand on his knee like Joe Biden does?
Right. You're right.
I mean, what's the difference? There's a big difference there.
A big difference. All right, Kenny, can we take a couple of minutes to say hi to everybody in the chat box?
Yeah.
Facebook or Rumble, where you want to start?
I'll say Rumble.
Let's go to Rumble. Starts out with Duke, who says, good morning, all Patriot Vic heads. Then he says, Vic, you must have a twin that is about 30 pounds lighter, whatever, in South City. First of all, Duke, what's that supposed to mean, the 30 pounds lighter thing? Second of all, there can't be two people this handsome. There just cannot
There's
be.
no way. There's no
possible
way.
It says, Ed Stoit, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair election.
No peace.
No fair election.
No peace.
All right. There was pallets full of Biden ballots as well.
Yes, there were.
When we're talking about, when you hear the word pallet, you immediately think large number of things.
And there were.
You know, cereal boxes up to the sky on pallets in the back.
230,000, they said a couple weeks ago.
Say hello to
in Michigan.
Yes. Say hello to my buddy Nick Piccolo from New York City. I've been listening to you guys. So Duke, either he is Nick Piccolo under an assumed name, or he's got a friend named Nick Piccolo who listens from New York City.
I like that name. I wish I had that name.
Nick Piccolo?
Yeah, you get a walk-in music automatically. This Ken Piccolo.
All right. Piccolo Law Offices, how can we help you?
Yeah.
Vicky says, Ken, while in Fontbonne for a teaching degree, I was told kids didn't need math and we could not correct them.
Horrible.
They said computers and calculators to figure it out, and we didn't need to know math. My God.
It's horrible.
According to a professor at UMSL, teachers can't pass the teacher's test. Oh, my God. They had to dumb it down. To me, that's where the failure in education started. Yep.
That's where DEI lives.
Ed says .org. My high school auto shop teacher was part of the invention of the hydrogen motor.
Wow.
Why aren't we doing this?
I don't know.
He was threatened and told our class about it in private. Well, guess what? Now it's out in the open. Deep state politicians, deep state conglomerates wonder why they're afraid of Donald Trump. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's going to expose it all.
Yep.
Because he's got nothing to lose now. Okay. Oh my God, that was only Rumble. Amy says, good morning, freedom-loving Vic heads.
Morning, Amy.
Dave Stover said, happy wet hump day to my all-American ultra MAGA freedom-loving Vic head family. It's Wednesday, May 8th, 257 days till the end of the era. Good morning, Vic heads. Great lineup of guests this morning. Thank you. KJP wasn't part of the DEI hiring. She was part of the error. And a simple mush-headed idiot. Yeah, we're on board there. Good Wednesday morning, GMVH. Those fishtulets worry me every day.
They do, every single day.
So worry about those fishtulets.
And another thing that worries me, I want everybody to understand that we can have a dry hump day any day.
Well, true. Most dry humping happens indoors.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
So, yeah, we can do that.
You want to play it, or? Yeah, I knew it. I knew that was the setup to that.
I was going to save it for later.
All right. He's here. Mark Harder. St. Louis County Council has arrived. His entourage is in the lobby. The horse-drawn carriage is outside. The red carpet, all that. He's next on 101.9, 94.1. News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
On News Talk STL.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Carol Swain.
I had heard of Claudine Gay. During my final years at Princeton, I heard all about this brilliant black student at Harvard. But I did not know that the brilliant black student at Harvard was using my work for her dissertation. I have a year that I can pursue legal remedies.
Good.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the Cleaning Pros at Zero Res. Zero Res knows there's nothing more important than the health of your family, and the health of your home has a direct impact on that, and that's why they have this great offer for the month of May. Book a cleaning now and mention the Colombo Special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Keep your home clean and healthy with the pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Colombo Special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Fox News commentary.
82-year-old Senator Bernie Sanders announced he is running for re-election. Congress is becoming the world's most expensive nursing home. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
The elites want more control through digital currencies in a cashless society. This is Stephen K. Bannon, and I believe gold is the answer to safeguard your wealth, especially if you own your gold inside of a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting SHELTER to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SHELTER to the number 989898 to claim your free info kit today.
Message and data rates may apply.
Senator Bernie Sanders announced he is running for a fourth term this November at the spry and fresh age of 82. Given his state of Vermont is bluer than blue, he's almost guaranteed to win re-election. In his re-election bid message, the self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist said he is running to defend democracy and added this is the most consequential election in our lifetime. Bernie is not wrong. The future of America as we know it is hanging in the balance, and the career politicians who feed and fester in the DC swamp are a big threat to our republic. As much as I don't like Bernie Sanders, though, and what he stands for, I do have to admit that at 82 years old, he is in much better physical and mental shape than Joe Biden. Bernie proves that age might be just a number, and in Joe's case, that number hits hard. But Washington, D.C. may be the most expensive and prestigious nursing home in the entire world. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Don't. Go!
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis.
What's he saying?
It's News Talk STL.
Don't do this show? Vic Porcelli Show. Don't. Good. We're not endorsed by President Biden. That's great. Did I just call him President Biden?
You did.
All right. All right, all rise. You all right there?
You gonna be okay? All right.
From the county of St. Louis,
Crime issues, economic development.
this is Mark Harder.
I've never seen a county council person with such an entourage.
I know.
Trumpeters,
No, you can go over there.
carriage,
Yeah, you're right.
red carpet. How are you?
Good. I got my Lou Rawls voice on today.
Love it.
So just to let you know, I got a head cold, so I'm going to sound really great today.
So give me a little bit of "You'll Never Find."
You'll never find.
Oh yeah,
another love
like mine.
Call up Dr. Tolbert. Tell him to bring the trombone in.
That's right. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's take one thing at a time here. Sam Page, at least for now, giving up on the new building thing.
Well, it looks like it. You know, last week we had a bye week with the show, so we got to catch up on the news. So what it looks like he's walked away from the idea of trying to get any type of ballot initiative put on a November ballot for a tax for a new administration building, which is good for the taxpayers of the St. Louis region for now. You know, we might have dodged a bullet, but I think we're still going to have to face that bullet at some point in time coming up. So this will give us maybe a little bit more time to come up with another solution, whether it's renting property somewhere, building property somewhere, moving the county seat. I mean, all these things, in my opinion, should be on the table, and I think they are. Over above just building a $500 million building that we may or may not need in the future. You know,
you can just call Wellington Environmental, and they'll take care of it all in a day.
Well, I mean, and we got to look at, you know, is government about buildings, or is it about people? Is it about electronics? Is it about dealing with your government? Do we need big halls of government, or can we get a lot smaller? Can we, you know, physically? So we got to look at that, and it's this ongoing debate that we have in our community and in our country is how much government do you want to afford? And so we've got to decide as a community, you know, how many services do we want? How many are we willing to pay for? How many things are we willing not to pay for? And come up with that equilibrium somewhere. Right now we're out of balance. We don't have enough income to pay for the services that we have. And so we're always robbing from Peter to pay Paul. So that's a big issue, and that's a big issue that hopefully will not be on the ballot come November.
All right, I have some questions.
Sure.
Whenever something like this happens and Sam Page fails, that means that some of the left-leaning council people had to be against this new building. Am I close? Am I right?
Well, it was actually the more right-leaning people were against the building. The left-leaning were more for the building.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So how did I mean, what I tried to say there was the ones who were for a new building had to switch or something? How did all of a sudden this just die?
It still came down to a vote, and it was basically a 4-3 issue on whether to move forward with this project.
All right, so roll call. Harder votes no. Trachis votes no.
No.
What?
No.
Oh, all right, hold on. Hancock. I'm just going to write them down, and then we'll see how they voted. Clancy, Hardaway, Webb, and Rita Days. Okay, so Harder votes.
Well, what are we voting on here?
The new building.
Oh, I was voting on no.
No. Trachis?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Hancock?
No.
Of course. Clancy?
Yes.
Of course. Hardaway? Anyway?
Dunaway. You always get stuck on that.
I do. I don't care.
Yes.
Yes. Shalonda Webb?
No.
Wow. And Rita Days?
No.
No. Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
It was a bipartisan no.
Are you looking at this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harder votes no, right? Hancock votes no, obviously. And Rita Days, she is pretty level-headed.
She's been around a long time. She understands the politics of these things.
And Shalonda Webb voted no.
Mm-hmm.
The yeses were Ernie Trachis, who
whatever.
He's an enigma. Ernie Trachis is an enigma.
Mark, you mentioned the cost of that building would be upwards of $500 million, right?
Approaching $600 million easy.
Okay, so when I heard that number, I used to think of when we're building a stadium for the Cardinals. We're building a football indoor stadium, right? And that was up in that number. And you're saying a building for our government is as big as one of those things?
What a great point.
No, it's a good analogy. And a lot of that is inflation. A lot of that is and building it in one of the highest real estate markets per foot.
Yes.
And do we, that's another discussion. Do we need to be in Clayton? Legally, by our charter, Clayton is the county seat, but that could be changed. We could put that on the ballot and say, we'd like to move it to Maryland Heights, or we'd like to move it to
Baldwin, Manchester,
Baldwin, wherever. And it would have to be voted on. If we get a majority vote, we can move legally the county seat to one of those municipalities. So, or even to an unincorporated portion. So that there's nothing in stone. I mean, it's pretty soft stone. It's in stone, but we could change that when it comes to that. So that's still an option. And so we have to look at all of our options. When you're spending this kind of money, you can't just say, this is the only answer, go for it.
Yeah.
Or we don't go for it. I think we need to look at the whole spectrum of the possible solutions to this. And that's what I think I bring to the table, is keeping these kind of solutions on the table, looking at other solutions instead of, well, we only have this in front of us. It's either yes or no.
I know I'm biased to my neighborhood, but they just built that great new building for the Baldwin Police Department. That'd be a great place to put the county council meetings.
Well, I mean, it'd be either anywhere. I mean, there's empty office buildings all over St. Louis County. I mean, at Timberlake and 40, there's 3 empty office
I didn't know
buildings.
that.
There's an office building at 141 and 40 that's totally empty.
That whole shopping center, that whole strip mall is empty.
That's if you want to build a ground up thing. So there's a lot of property around town because of the backlog and the back effect of COVID and the marketplace the way it is right now. So we need to look at that. Even in Clayton, there's 25% vacancy rate in Clayton itself. So there's got to be property out there for us so we don't have to build anything.
And we don't have to spend $600 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're going to have to spend something.
They love
but
spending,
we
yeah,
don't
but
need to
it
spend
doesn't
that.
have to be $600 million.
Yeah.
So now, when will this come up again?
I guess it'll come up next year. I think the reason Page backed away from this, being a big election year, I think he probably read the tea leaves, or somebody read them for him, that, to put something like this on a November ballot with, the everything else that's on the November ballot, from abortion to presidential elections to everything else, I think it's bad timing to try to go back to the residents of St. Louis County and say, we need a tax increase by X to build a building. Right. So, and speaking of tax increases,
don't get ahead of me here. Don't be Mark the Thunder Stealer. I got one of those over there. The senior tax freeze passed. I know I've never seen something like this cause so much good conversation. I mean, David Stokes and I went at it pretty good on this. I was for the freeze, being a senior and all, but that's what you're talking about, right?
Right. And that discussion, we've been discussing this even back at the old station.
Yes, we did.
Location. So to bring everybody up to speed, we passed the senior tax freeze as with most other counties, not all, but some in the state of Missouri. And we were given a bill from the state legislature on how to do this. We modified ours. We upped the age a little bit, and we also brought in a value of the property itself and put a limit on that to $550,000 and below. The state is in the process of changing those two things, so that may come back in line with what the original intent was. In the meantime, since we passed it, our revenue department said, well, this is an unfunded mandate. We don't normally do this. It's going to take X amount of man hours. It's going to take so much computer skills and so on in order to take in roughly about 60,000 applications. And I can't disagree with that. But where we disagreed in what it's going to cost to do that. And they came back to us and said it's going to cost $1.7 million to implement this program this year. And we said, no. And we talked to other counties. We talked to St. Charles, and they were implementing it for a lot less.
Yeah.
And so we finally agreed to, and what was voted on recently is $300,000 that will fund it for this year, this calendar year. Next year, we'll probably looking at $500,000 to $600,000 next year to fund it. We've extended the application period from July 1st of this year until June of next year, so we don't have to have a big rush like you all have to turn everything in 2 months. So that will spread out some of the workload. We could probably hire and get by with about 5 or 6 people instead of the 27 that our revenue department wanted. We just had to put some common sense numbers to this thing, and it just didn't add up. And so finally, after a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth, we got our 4 votes. We voted it, and it actually, we were shooting for 4 votes, and it basically came down to it was 6 votes that we got in favor of this funding source.
Wow. That never happens.
So
Can't wait. $1.7 million, really?
That's where we started.
$1 million?
We got it down.
$1.7 million? No. We're not doing $1 million.
So those are the kind of common sense things that you have to do and push it through, and not believe the original narrative and what other people say, and look at the agendas behind the agendas in many cases.
All right, Mark, we're talking to Mark Carter from St. Louis County Council. Cutting the budget, right? Shrinking the government. We know on a federal level, my God, it's so out of control. Is cutting back on county government possible? At least more possible than the federal level?
I think we got a better chance at it than the federal level.
Well, let's do it.
The thing the federal has over us is they can print money, and they can print money until our money is worth nothing. And it's just, we're just moving paper around in wheelbarrows. We can't do that as a county. Our county, our dollar is our dollar, and if we don't have the dollar, we can't spend the dollar. So many times we have floated that dollar on the future. And we're trying to get away from that, and that's what's gotten us into this problem. COVID drove us into that as well because of lost revenue. So a lot of it is we have to look at better sources of revenue that are more consistent. We need to look at spending sources and decide, is this where we want to put our spending? And that's what that's the age-old debate every year, every budget cycle is, what do we want to cut? And what is going to be the size of government?
So I don't know if I want to make sure I heard you right, because I think maybe the first step has been taken when you said 6 people can do it, not 27 people, right?
That's our assumption at this point.
So why can't we open up that discussion and say, well, what about this project? What about this bill? That only needs 6 people, not 27. Then you can start shrinking the government.
I think we can. We also have to decide, what do we want government to do? And that's always the age-old thing. Do we want do we want government at any level, state, local, national? Do we want cradle to grave, or do we just want us to get through the things that protect our liberties, that fund safety, that fund our roads, and do the things that an average citizen can't do for themselves, and then let everybody else take care of themselves?
I think.
But unfortunately, our society for the last 50 years we are so dependent on the government that it's made it like they're drug dealers. We're dependent on them for everything that comes through on government. And to try to cut that back, we're going to get the government DTs.
Well, you know what? Then it's got to be go to rehab. Federal, state, county, municipal, any of those levels, the government that governs least governs best. I'm sorry.
Right. It is. And small government is best.
But there is one socialist program you've got to navigate, because I put in for Social Security my whole life. You can't just suddenly cut that off. We've got to be able to transition. And why aren't they focusing more on that? The younger people, instead of throwing their money into Social Security, the socialist program, get them into more of a 401k style of situation.
And
private. You're talking about private?
Yeah.
And many companies have done it. Even government has done that. But we still have the pension-based system, and we basically still have a system of Social Security and Medicare, which makes up almost 50% of the federal budget and almost 50% of the state budget. So you start looking at that. Those are like, as they always talk about the third rail of the railroad, and you start talking about trying to change that, and you've got everybody and their brother saying, don't touch it. Don't change the rules. Don't change the money. Don't change what I put in, everything else. And Social Security doesn't pay for itself. It's basically a Ponzi scheme, in my opinion, that someday will come to roost, and we'll all be paying the.
We're running out of time here. I want to talk about the campaign. How's the campaign going?
Campaign's
briefly?
Doing great. I was showing you guys, got new bumper stickers.
Love them.
And everybody can see if they're on there.
You only brought in one, though.
Well, I know. Well, you guys will have to fight over it. Cast lots for it, or whatever you want to do for it. We got that. We got a fundraiser coming up on May 20th. If you'd like to be invited to that, it's out at a major donor's farm out in Defiance, and we've got the Whiskey Drifters are going to be our band.
All right.
And we're going to have some fun and drink and food and have a good time. And you guys can come with your bedazzled boots and dance the two-step if you like.
You have your bedazzled boots?
I do. Yeah,
you got. I know.
I have my
Ken
bedazzled pants too. And how will people find out where to go and everything?
You can go to my website, which is markformissouri.com. Okay. We also need some campaign volunteers and sign locations. You can go on there and you can sign up, see how you can help us, either financially or help us. We're going to be we've been door knocking for the last couple of weekends. We need volunteers for that. We also need sign locations and all that good stuff. So go to that sign, Mark Harder or markformissouri.com.
Can you get me a yard sign?
I can get you anything you want.
My Connect.
That's right. I'm the fixer.
All right. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Mark, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll talk next time. Dan Bongino coming up next. Kenny and I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
The Cardinals host the Boston Red Sox Friday, May 17th, and that night, 25,000 fans age 16 and older take home a mystery rope hat presented by Bear. These stadium-exclusive hat designs feature the Cardinals logos from various memorable eras and are sure to be the must-have item for your 2024 summer wardrobe. That's Friday, May 17th. The Cardinals, the Red Sox, and the mystery rope hat. For tickets or more details, go to cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Steven Matz, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Michaelis brings it home. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Budweiser's First Beer Fridays returns to Busch Stadium, and tickets start at just $15. Choose from Friday night matchups in May, including the Red Sox and Cubs, and enjoy your first beer on the house. Your First Beer Friday ticket will be loaded with cards cash that can be used to purchase a Budweiser, Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, or any beverage of choice. For full details or to purchase tickets, visit cardinals.com/Friday.
This is Miles Michaelis. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
Do you owe the IRS IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. There's been more damage from dangerous storms in parts of the Midwest.
Storms throughout the Midwest continued early Wednesday, bringing heavy rain, gusty winds, and tornadoes. Hours earlier, tornadoes were spotted in Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, where a Portage resident named Dave tells WZZM he realized he needed to get to a safer part of the house.
I was looking out my picture window. Yeah, I was maybe staying upstairs a little longer than I should. I saw the wind blowing from one direction and immediately turned to another direction. I said, no, that's not right, and then headed for the basement.
At one point, about 50 people were trapped inside a FedEx facility in Portage because of downed power lines. I'm Donna Warder.
Also at townhall.com, Senator Tom Cotton explains President Biden's missteps in the war in Gaza by claiming he's been wrong on every foreign policy issue over the past 50 years. Cotton says Biden has routinely sided with communist insurgencies and regimes during the Cold War.
He opposed, for instance, the bin Laden raid that killed Osama bin Laden. He repeatedly opposed things like missile defense systems when Ronald Reagan wanted to invest in missile defenses that are now being used to protect our troops in Israel in the Middle East, thank goodness.
Cotton interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. U.S. and Philippine forces, backed by an Australian Air Force surveillance aircraft, have unleashed a barrage of high-precision rockets, artillery fire, and airstrikes, and sank a mock energy ship, part of a large-scale war drill in and near the disputed South China Sea that has antagonized Beijing. Last year, the Philippines approved a wider U.S. military presence in the archipelago. On Wall Street, stocks are now mixed. The Dow ahead 76 points. The NASDAQ 43 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Biden has started tracking Christians like cattle. Yes, you heard it right. He pressured banks to tag transactions for certain keywords. One of them is Holy Bible. That's a horrifying and creepy attack on our religious freedoms. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst, a best-selling author, and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text faith to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text faith to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect your own prosperity.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
After a beautiful start, destructive thunderstorms are possible today. We expect those storms to come in a couple of waves from late this morning into the afternoon, ending this evening. Large hail, damaging winds, even a strong tornado possible, up to about 83 for our high. And then dry and partly cloudy tonight, we drop down to near 60. Finally, the pattern breaks tomorrow. We're partly cloudy, we're cooler. Thursday's high at 73. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the News Talk STL app.
Love the News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
There's some good days, there's some bad days, some horrendous days, some really sucky days. But yesterday was a gem. Again, I'm not about like popping this champagne because this is an ongoing perpetual fight with these liberal commies and all. But man, yesterday was a trifecta. For liberals, that means three. We got to be a little slow with them, folks. I mean, you guys just got your cabooses handed to you yesterday in all of your Star Chamber cases, basically every one. So we've got three significant cases going on right now yesterday, right? We have the Fani Willis, Georgia, which is really a violation of Trump's First Amendment rights case. They call it an election interference case, but I don't use the language of the left without qualifying it. The Fani Willis case in Georgia, where they're alleging Trump tried to interfere in the election. What's really happening is they're objecting to his First Amendment right to speak out about problems in the election. And that case is just not going well, folks. It's just not going well. It turns out, as of this morning, that Fani Willis, who, as many of you know, was doing the with another prosecutor in the case who was not even remotely qualified to be putting Donald Trump on trial. And by the way, if there are kids listening and you want to know what that's not my job to have to explain that. You're going to have to go to some your parents later in life. But they were doing this, and amazingly, Fani Willis is still on this case, which shocked just about everyone. So a court of appeals is now going to hear that, which is going to put that little Star Chamber trial on delay. So that was great news this morning. Big W for us. Another loss for the communist left. But it doesn't even end there. Last night we found out that the Presidential Records Act, what I'll call the Spygate case, because the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago clearly to go get the Spygate documents, which were probably evidence of them spying on Donald Trump, right? The Spygate case, Judge Cannon, who's overseeing that case, who seems to be one of the few reasonable people out there, Judge Cannon was like, we're going to put that thing on hiatus for now. And the liberals, the sound effects coming out of the liberals when that happened yesterday were incredible. The screaming, Jim was there. Jim was there live. this is what it sounded like. That's real footage. This is real footage yesterday from when that was announced that the case was going to be delayed, because you understand, right? Like Jack Smith, in this case, the special tyrant, wanted desperately to put Trump in jail before the election because these federal charges are going to go away if Trump wins after the election. So now Jack Smith is terrified because it looks like this case is now on perpetual delay and may never see the light of day in a courtroom before Trump and his DOJ decide to cancel this thing in the new Trump administration. So liberals, they were peeing themselves, crapping their diapers, wetting themselves, clawing at their own faces, salivating, scratching their eyes, pulling their hair out. That was all happening yesterday because you got to understand, like, they're obsessed with putting Donald Trump in jail. So you're probably thinking, man, that's a great day, a twofer. Oh, it didn't even end there. The third case, which we have consistently referred to as the Twinkies case, because it's being run by a guy who cannot seem to control his eating behavior, Alvin Bragg. I don't get it. I don't get zero self-control. Seems like the guy sits there all day with Hostess products, jamming them down his soup cooler. He can't seem to control his caloric intake, Alvin Bragg. But we're expected to respect this guy. Meanwhile, he's a straight-up commie. So he's trying Donald Trump for a crime no one can seem to articulate, faking a business record, even though they documented the business record as exactly what it was. A legal expense, which is really strange because they paid for legal stuff. So no one can seem to articulate exactly what this crime is. So they thought yesterday, this would be a good idea. Twinkies was like, I got a great idea. Being that we have no crime, let's embarrass Donald Trump and let's put Stormy Daniels on the witness stand and let's let her tell the story. The story of an alleged rendezvous. Yes, I know it's... I get it. The rendezvous turned into a total disaster for the left. The meltdown on the left yesterday was palpable. You could touch it. You could feel it. You could smell it. You could see it. Stormy Daniels, it started off great. They were like, oh, look, we did this and we did that. And everybody was like, oh, look, we're embarrassing Donald Trump. This is so great. Keep in mind, this had absolutely nothing to do with what Twinkies thinks he's charging Donald Trump, but that doesn't matter. They just made it up, right? So it's irrelevant to them. They just brought her on the stand anyway to embarrass him. But then the cross-examination started. And folks, the case turned into a hit show with a missing word in front of it. A total debacle of cataclysmic proportions to the point where Communist News Network, CNN, had to acknowledge this was a really bad day. Really bad day. Now, before I get to that on a serious note, the world is surely laughing at us right now. You know, folks, I hate cliches. I say it all the time because, you know, it's lazy radio. It is. It's dumb. But folks, perception is reality. I don't care if you're a quantum physicist, if you're one of these people who believes we live in a simulation. Perception is reality. How you perceive the world is your internal and external reality. Xi Jinping, Putin, the Iranian mullahs, Bashar al-Assad, enemies of the United States have to be watching what's going on right now. And they've got to be laughing at us. What happened yesterday is just, an apocalyptic level cosmic disgrace. That a country like ours, think about it. A country like ours with a history, Lincoln, Washington, Reagan, World War II, World War I, the Revolution, our fight for freedom in the Civil War, everything we've been through, the country that, powers the world, feeds the world. Think about it. We're a country of only 330 million people. We're not even close to the biggest country in the world. We're not even close. Yet we have a GDP. I mean, compare our population to India. And look at our GDP versus theirs. In other words, how powerful our economy is. We are the proudest, biggest, baddest ass country, not only in the world now, but objectively ever in the history of this rock we call Earth. No one's been as powerful. No one's produced as much economic output. No one's had a military capable of such power. We could dominate the world if we wanted to. We don't. You know why we don't? Jim, do you know why we don't dominate the world? Because we don't want to. Because we're good people. He's trying to steal my stunt. Because we don't want to. The only reason we don't dominate and take over the world is because we're good people. And we don't want to mess with you. You do your own thing. But make no mistake. If we wanted to, we could. Countries have tested us out in the past. They've been like, let's toy with the United States. Let's go bomb Pearl Harbor. We'll see how that ends. Didn't end well. Not for you. Not for you. People have tested us out a lot too. They were like, let's get them into World War II. You know, they'll be okay. We'll just conquer them and go over there and run roughshod over them. It didn't end well. Even World War I, they were like, let's mess around with them. They're a growing country. They don't really have too much of a military. It didn't end well there either. The only wars we've ever lost, we've lost for political reasons, not for military ones. Everybody knows that. That's a fact. It wasn't because our military was weak. Our war fighters are badass, even despite liberal efforts to destroy our military. The only wars we've ever lost were for political reasons, and that's a fact. Folks, perception's reality, though. And the world that used to fear us, I promise you, is laughing at us now. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's not just dangerous in the theoretical world. It's dangerous in the real world. In everybody's senses right now, we're a country so divided, so eager to put conservative politicians in jail, Republican politicians in jail, and emulate the tactics of third world republics, that we're going to be so distracted by internal affairs that China's got to be saying to itself right now, you know what, this is probably a good time to jump the strait to Taiwan. Which, folks, I don't care how much of an isolationist you are. I care, but I don't care in relation to the other. Either way, even if you say, I don't think the United States should ever get involved in any country's external affairs, or internal affairs, our external affairs. I don't think we should get any country at all. If China attacks Taiwan, it would be a disaster. Sea lanes, international trade with China. You have no idea how bad semiconductor chips. There is no way this doesn't not only impact the United States, but deeply impact the United States. They are looking at us now in absolute mockery. Look at these idiots. Porn stars, dingy courtrooms in Manhattan, fake Star Chamber trials on made-up charges. The mayor in New York, here, Fox News. Mayor Adams in New York says Rikers Island is prepared if Trump is sentenced to jail. Can you believe this? This is an actual conversation happening in the great United States of America. And it's not because of us. It's not because of us. To the liberals out there in the audience, again, dropping a deuce in your diapers, scratching your faces right now, because you know what I'm saying is true. You destroyed the United States, not us. None of these wars that happened under Trump. Pretty tweets mean all of the stuff that is destroying the United States right now. The open border, the wage crisis, the inflation crisis, the economic crisis, wars overseas, international chaos. The hard reality, and you need to take that syrup of Ipecac, is you did this, not us. The Star Chamber trials, these kangaroo courts, this is all you're doing. And yesterday it blew up in your face spectacularly, as on three fronts you got completely wrecked, and we shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even have to do this show today. I shouldn't even have, not that I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't even have to do this show. This is how sad it is that on a Wednesday morning, I want to say Tuesday because I took Monday off, but on a Wednesday morning, what are we talking about? Not how to get out of the inflation crisis to open the show. We're going to get to that later. I got a lot of stuff coming up. But that's not what we're opening the show. We're talking about porn stars, fake business records, cases that have never been tried in the history of the United States to any extent. Like talking about putting a former president in dingy Rikers Island. You just can't control yourselves, you liberal lunatics. Why everybody can't stand you? Everybody hates you. No one wants you around. How does that make you feel? Everyone hates you. Everyone. Nobody wants you around. It's amazing. You want to come live with us in conservative states. We don't want to be near you. No one is moving from Texas to California or Florida to New York. No one. If they're doing it by force. Someone forced them to do it. We don't want to be near you. Nobody does. Everybody hates you. Nobody is moving to your cities. Yet you keep moving near us. Doesn't that say something? That's objectively true. Look at the exodus numbers. You keep coming to us because we keep saving you. We don't want you around. Nobody likes you. No one. You don't even like yourselves. You go and harass all your governors. You see them up in Gretchen Whitmer's face yesterday. Why don't you support us wanting to kill the Jews? You're all nuts. Everybody hates you because you suck. And everybody's laughing at you as you destroy the United States around the world. No one's laughing here, but Vladimir Putin, Xi, they love you. They love you. If they could do it and not get caught, they would fund your political movement in the United States. All right, I got more coverage of this ridiculous trial yesterday, including even the lefties acknowledging it was a disaster. Coming up next, we'll be right back.
Bongino.
Henry Repeating Arms makes rifles and shotguns that are accurate right out of the box, with performance and craftsmanship that can't be beat. And we make them here in America, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Henry's come in a wide variety of calibers and finishes and can be used for hunting, sporting, home, and land defense, and by beginners. Be sure to order our free catalog and decals to see the collection from the comfort of your own home. Visit henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals. henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals.
Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For over a decade, they've successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out. With an A+ rating at the BBB and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, call 844-284-4864. That's 844-284-4864 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
Dan Bongino.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk. They always have great conversations.
News, analysis, and opinion.
It's a big case for the prosecution. Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
On a legal expense, I got indicted for that.
Is how to chant death to America.
They exist, they feel empowered, they feel emboldened because of the way Joe Biden has handled this situation.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Steph's Pizza is on the move to Lake St. Louis. That's right, you can now get the legendary Steph's Pizza and Pasta in Lake St. Louis, 111 Pond Fort Trail. Steph's Pizza, where Mondays you get a large pizza for the price of a small, and it just got more convenient for pickup or delivery in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peter's on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pond Fort Trail. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com. Tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. And getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality, American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At stlfenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking with Randy Tobler, Dr. Randy Tobler.
I think that it's gotten to the point where everyone has so much dirty laundry, where everyone just sort of covers and they don't want to really expose. They don't want to dig too deep. I won't get too close to your armpits and smell them if you don't get too close to mine, to put it in a very crude way. But I think that makes the point.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Like any good conservative, we have our principles and our values.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world,
I don't even know how conservatives can even take their head out of the ground long enough to complain about anything.
You're trying to call us conservatives Nazis.
I think they ought to be ashamed.
it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
All we want is freedom and liberties and less government.
I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm an American.
Welcome home.
Because everyone gets a voice.
This is News Talk STL.
News and information.
Welcome home. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
First Tax Group can help. Every day they hear the struggles of hardworking Americans just like you.
I was facing an IRS audit and didn't know where to turn. AFTG stepped in and handled everything for me.
Call 800-507-0466 or visit americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino.
I thought my tax problems were insurmountable, but AFTG proved me wrong. They got the job done.
The Biden administration has now militarized the IRS, and that puts you and your family at risk. Call 800-507-0466 or visit americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino. Let America First Tax Group put your tax troubles to rest. Call 800-507-0466 or visit americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino. America First Tax Group. Defend your family's financial future. Call 800-507-0466 or visit americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino.
Posting W's all day long. The Dan Bongino Show.
I can't do those segments. I can't, because then it distracts me for the whole show. These segments about how much I really can't stand these libs. It's just so distracting. But it came up in context of these embarrassingly stupid court cases, which are now blowing up in their faces, and how if liberals just weren't objectively so stupid and emotionally obsessed, like fixated OCD, remember the Glenn Close character in Fatal Attraction? Like, if they weren't so obsessed with boiling bunnies on conservative stoves, they would see that not only are they helping Donald Trump get elected with these ridiculous court cases, as they're blowing up in live, all three of them yesterday, all three of them. It's not only that they wouldn't see, but they would also see, this isn't working. Every single case has become a fiasco and is making us, the United States, it's their country too. They still live here. Anyone who had the maturity of maybe a 9-year-old would say, okay, enough's enough. Again, these dopey cliches, but the cutting off your nose to spite his face, I got you, slice that nose off you. Yeah, but now you have no nose. This is the maturity level of the modern leftist. Folks, I'm telling you right now, if you put Biden in jail, Hunter Biden, and every single second of the trial, Joe Biden's polling numbers went up, there would be a huge conflict in the Republican Party. Like, hey, man, we're going to really hurt our chances of holding power here with this. There would be. You don't have to agree with it, but there would be. Not the left. They're like, damn the torpedoes. Full steam ahead, morons. In most emergencies, they come without a warning. It's weather emergencies. When the next one comes, you have to have your supplies ready to go. Go bag, water, food, ready to go. Can't be in the pantry. You go, what are we taking? A peanut butter in? Don't do that. Your supplies should be ready to grab and go right away. Secure those supplies at mypatriotsupply.com. Start with one of their 4-week emergency food kits for every member of your family from My Patriot Supply, helping millions of Americans prepare since 2008. My Patriot Supply are experts in self-reliance. Their 4-week emergency food kits offer over 2,000 calories a day. Protected by heavy-duty 4-layer packaging, these kits last up to 25 years. Sealed inside rugged handled buckets, they're made to grab and go quickly. Pick them up at mypatriotsupply.com. This is the final week to save $50 per kit. They'll ship fast and free in unmarked boxes. Save $50 per kit at mypatriotsupply.com. Don't get caught unprepared. mypatriotsupply.com, mypatriotsupply.com.
Dan Bongino.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The Israeli military, in an update, says the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza has now been reopened. But a United Nations agency says no aid has yet entered. The key terminal for the entry to humanitarian aid was closed over the weekend after Hamas rocket attack killed 4 Israeli soldiers nearby. Severe storms batter parts of the Midwest with heavy rain, gusty winds, and tornadoes. Tornadoes were reported after dark Tuesday in southwestern Michigan, northern Indiana, and northwestern Ohio. 2 reported twisters blitzed a Michigan city located near Kalamazoo and shredded a FedEx facility. Officials say no serious injuries were immediately reported. The Dow is down 45 points, and the NASDAQ is also down 43. This is SRN News.
Biden has started tracking Christians like cattle. Yes, you heard it right. He pressured banks to tag transactions for certain keywords. One of them is Holy Bible. That's a horrifying and creepy attack on our religious freedoms. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst, a best-selling author, and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text faith to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text faith to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect your own prosperity.
What happens next?
President Biden may change his policy toward Israel.
Happens right here.
Obviously, Netanyahu is sending a very firm message over the call.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
420 will have Jack Fitzhenry from the Heritage Foundation on the Trump trials, and at 520, Levi Hart of Thrive on the continuing pro-life fight.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on Newstalk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Newstalk STL.
Be heard. Call 844-4-the-USA now to let Dan know what you think. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
So, yes, yesterday was objectively bad by any measure. And that's why I want to just prepare you now. The Stormy Daniels debacle for the left in the Star Chamber trial. I'm going to prepare you in advance. I'm going to play some clips from CNN. Why? Why would we play these morons? Because if I'm going to make a point, I'm going to back it up. Try to be, but I'm not. It's not easy for me to be objective about the police state trials of Donald Trump. I hate police state activities because I'm an anti-communist. I happen to like Donald Trump and his agenda. So it's tough for me to be objective. So CNN, which is not objective in the other direction, has forfeited all human dignity for the PP hoax and everything else. How bad, I want you to think about this, does it have to be for you that a network that has just thrown its ratings, its dignity, its morality, its professionalism out the window to perpetrate known hoaxes, how bad does it have to be when they're saying on the air, that didn't work out so well? Now, I'm under no illusions whatsoever this is going to stop the left. They are crazy. I did the whole first block telling you how much people can't stand liberals. Everyone hates liberals. Liberals hate liberals. You know how I know it? Liberals move away from other liberals to come live with us. We don't move near them. We can't keep them out. We wish we could, but it's a free country. I want to put passport control at the northern Florida border. I want to check passports and voting history, but we can't do that because it's a free country. I kid. But you get the point. Actually, no, I don't want them down here. I don't want them down here. They suck. Everything they touch, they destroy. But how bad does it have to be? Miranda Devine summed up the case yesterday. Now let's focus on the judge. This Judge Merchan in the Twinkies trial up in New York. Alvin Bragg obviously can't control his eating behavior, takes out his food rage on Donald Trump. Alvin Bragg, this case should have been a mistrial yesterday. Here's why. This is not a sexual harassment case. It's not a workplace harassment case. Everybody gets that, correct? I'm not trying to talk down to anyone, but you'd be stunned how many people like, oh no, it's this, this stuff was relevant because it was about some sex thing or something. No, it wasn't. This is a falsification of business records case where the allegation, however ridiculous, is that Donald Trump categorized a payment to his lawyer. This sounds ridiculous to say, Jim. I can't believe I'm even repeating this. The charge is that Donald Trump characterized, or his organization, a payment to his lawyer as a legal expense. No, folks, that's the charge. They're saying it wasn't a legal expense, Alvin Bragg, which it was. They paid the lawyer. No one's disputing that. They're saying, it was hush money to this Stormy Daniels lady. She had no business yesterday being on the stand at all. Whether she received the money or didn't is entirely irrelevant. I tried to explain this yesterday during the radio show. Having been involved with trials, trial prep, investigations, federally, NYPD, all of this stuff, right? I'm not new to this. Folks, you are not allowed to bring things into trial that are irrelevant. I can make anybody look like, here's why. This is like really ticking me off because even on the podcast, it's like so hard to explain this to people who are so politically blind to what's going on. I love producer Jim. He's a great guy. I try to do my best too, but we're all sinners. Like I promise you, if I wanted to try Jim on a fake charge of robbing a bank, knowing he didn't do it, like they know not Donald Trump did nothing wrong, I could bring in say Jim got in a fight in 3rd grade. I could bring the kid in. Oh, man, that Jim beat me up, and I told him to stop, and he bent my finger back. Wow, the jury would be like, what a terrible guy. It has nothing to do with him robbing a bank. You get that, right? Evidence that Donald Trump may or may not have engaged in some physical act with this woman has nothing to do whatsoever with the case. Zero. The only purpose to that is to make him look stupid. And this Judge Merchan is an embarrassment to humankind. An embarrassment. And I say this as someone with the bona fides to back it up. My last line of work, I worked for 2 Democrat presidents who were awful and morally inept. Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. But I'm going to tell you something, man. I did my job. You know why? Because I took an oath to do that job. And my job mattered. I never brought up politics at work. I never once let it interfere with my job. Matter of fact, I was probably one of just 5-10 guys on the entire presidency detail qualified to do these foreign leads at the time. I did 3 of them. 3 of them. Prague, Indonesia, and Afghanistan. That's like a big deal. Now, who cares? It doesn't really matter. That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is I did my job proudly, even though I knew these guys were destructive to the republic, because I understood I took an oath, and my job was to keep these guys alive. And if I wanted to change the trajectory of the republic, I had to leave and run for office. Oh, yeah, I did that too. And I walked away and said, I'm going to go run for it. And I lost, but I put my name on a ballot. So I'm not going to be lectured by anyone. This Judge Merchan took a similar oath. He swore to uphold the Constitution of the state of New York and of the United States of America. He's doing none of this. He knows full well he's not a dumb guy. Don't give him an out. Oh, he's just stupid. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows Stormy Daniels was going to prejudice the jury by coming in with these ridiculous stories about sexual acts. Folks, I don't even like talking about it on here because this is the radio. Podcast is different, but I don't even like talking about it. Right. This is hilarious. This is where Miranda Devine nails this thing. Jim just said it too. He lets her prejudicial testimony in about alleged sexual activity. If, of course, she talks about what? Folks, she's a porn star. Sexual activity. And the judge is like, oh my God, she talked about. That's incredible. Like he didn't know. You didn't know. It's like inviting Sammy to Bull. And then you're stunned like he talks about the mob. I didn't see that coming. I thought he was going to talk about baseball. The judge isn't dumb. Folks, you can't uncrack the egg. Once the jury hears all this stuff, fake or real, nobody knows what really happened. Of course they're already prejudiced. So Miranda Devine's like, this is insane, the judge's logic. First, Merchan refuses to strike out this gratuitous testimony. Then, Merchan criticizes Trump's lawyers for not objecting enough when Stormy Daniels testifies. The judge has slyly allowed in material whose only purpose is to embarrass Trump, and then after the fact, pretends for the jury that he didn't approve. Folks, I have zero respect for this guy. And I gotta be careful with this stuff. I do, because I tell you as just folks, I'm a sinner, man, okay? I say all the time, I'll say it again, like, I'm nobody's moral compass. I'm not trying to be anybody's. Don't look up to me for anything. I promise you, you will be grossly disappointed. I'm just a pissed off guy who hates the direction of the country. I'm no morally upstanding dude. Like, you should be looking at me for. I cause more trouble than anyone. I say that because if a guy like me, just a normal guy, that wasn't born rich, and I had middle class parents and lived in an apartment above a bar. If a guy like me can go into the Secret Service and take an oath to protect people he politically can't stand, and do the job good enough that I had to just perfect evaluation when I left. A guy like me, I don't have Albert Einstein-like intellect. I don't have the athletic skills of a Brock Lesnar. There's nothing special about me. If I can do it, how is it that Judge Merchan, a law school graduate who is a sitting judge, is entirely incapable of just doing the basic functions of a judge, not even doing it well, just doing basic things like keeping obviously prejudicial testimony out of a trial, which is humiliating the United States across the globe? The answer? Jim, why didn't Judge Merchan keep the prejudicial testimony of Stormy Daniels out of the trial? Do you know? Because he didn't want to. That is correct. It's amazing how Jim continues to get this answer right he's like a genius. He's like 99 for his last 100 because he didn't want to, because he's a maniac and his daughter works for Democrats and his family is actually profiting off this tyranny. That sounds like a conflict. Nobody cares. Nobody in New York, they love it. The tyrants and the Democrat Party in New York think this is great. Now, in case you think I was making this up, Jim, cue up for me, Cub 1. Here's CNN not even taking this stuff seriously with Stormy Daniels. I hate playing CNN clips, but nothing drives home the point more when a network fully committed to destroying Donald Trump thinks things are so bad that even they have to winky, winky, nod, nod, like, hey, lefties, this isn't going like you thought it's going. Take a listen.
Jurors, Casey?
Just one thing that I've been sort of noticing as this has gone on is that there have been a couple times where she seems to be cracking a joke, trying to get a reaction from the jury, and our reporters in the room have noted that the jury hasn't seemed to respond.
No, they're
to
taking
that.
their job seriously.
I mean, what do you make of that?
Humor is risky in the courtroom, especially if you go in with lines, like it looks like Stormy. If something happens spontaneously, if an easel falls over, people will laugh. They're human, but it's never going to work. If you go in there like, I'm going to amuse the jury, I'm going to sort of say this clever thing.
As someone who's been involved in trials, even a blind squirrel gets a nut sometimes. CNN is 100% correct. You ever see the movie Few Good Men? Most of you have seen it, the Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise movie. There's a scene in the movie where the guy's accused of giving the beating and killing the guy. There's the code red. There's the black guy, the bigger guy, and the white guy. The white guy's on the stand and he's talking about like the runaway private or whatever. And he says, and we did it. And he makes a joke. You know the scene. You probably